Do you want to get 100% of your deals funded or make money funding other people's deals? In this video, I'm going to show you how to find gap funding for your deals. And if you want to lend money to those that need gap funding, this video is for you as well. My name is Tony Javier, and I'm owner of an Inc. 5000 rated real estate investment company, and I've done over 1,000 flips in my career. And I work with a lot of investors around the country, and they spend a lot of time trying to find great real estate deals. Deals that can make them anywhere from $20,000 to over $100,000. But then sometimes they can't get the funding they need. So they either have to let the deal go or wholesale it for a profit 2 to 3 times smaller than if they were able to close on it and fix and flip it, or wholesale it, or even fix and flip it and keep it as a rental, otherwise known as a BRRRR. And if you can keep it as a rental, you can make substantially more than any of these methods. The truth is, if you find a good deal, there is no reason you can't find the funding, and I will show you how. There are so many people waiting to place money into a deal like yours. You just have to know how to find it and get it locked up. The truth is, it's not hard to find first position lending on good deals, but most lenders want you to put 20% to 30% down and possibly cover holding and closing costs. This could be a substantial amount of money, especially if you are doing more than one of these at a time. I have anywhere from 10 to 20 flips going on at one time, and we'll share later in this video how I get them 100% funded without gap funding. So now I want to jump into gap funding, give you some examples of gap funding, and go over some numbers so you understand it better. Number one is how to convince gap funders to take a second position. Number two is what information you need to send over to lenders to say yes quickly. A lot of people get this wrong. Number three, ways to find gap funders. And number four, how to do gap funding for those that want to lend money. I've made some big mistakes lending to other people that lost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when you do this right, can make you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just some small tweaks, and I'll show you some things that I learned that can help you not make those mistakes. So let's dive into some numbers, and I'll give you an example of a deal just so you understand. So let's say you buy a property for around $100,000. You need to put $50,000 in renovations, and the property is worth $200,000 after fixing it up. Usually lenders will lend around 80% of the cost, which is about $120,000. So basically $150,000 times 80%. That means you need $30,000 for the down payment, and let's say another $10,000 in closing costs, which means you need $40,000 to close just on this one house. If you don't have that $40,000, then you will need a private lender to cover the gap, which is the $40,000. Remember, on top of that, you are also going to need to cover holding costs and any possible overages. So make sure you're prepared. Sometimes gap funders will cover closing costs, but we'll tell you later why I don't cover closing costs. So a gap funder will need to take second position to secure their money to that property. You have to remember, this is a risky position. So how do you convince a lender to do this? Okay, so let's jump in. So number one, how to convince someone to take a second position to cover the gap. For me, when I lend money, there are many things that I take into consideration when lending money. Their financial strength, their experience flipping houses, and if they've flipped a property like this or not, their credit score. I always do a background check. And then of course, analyzing the deal to make sure it's a safe deal to invest in. So when convincing someone to do this deal, you either need to show them your experience, show them that you have a clean background check, show them that you have good credit, and show them all the things that they need to make sure that it's a safe deal and they feel comfortable. Which leads me into number two, the information to send to a gap funder so they understand the deal and are more likely to fund it. So based on these things that I've mentioned, when sending information to a gap funder, you need to be able to sell the deal quickly. If you've seen Shark Tank, if a shark is confused by the presentation or feel like there's something being hidden, then they won't touch the deal. You know the saying, confused minds don't buy, and in this case, confused minds don't invest. I get deals sent to me all the time, and I can tell when someone has their stuff together and when someone doesn't. So here is what you need to send to your gap funder. The address, which is obvious, your purchase price, your renovation amount, the ARV, which is the after repair value, a deal analyzer showing all of your costs. And I would only send this to savvy investors. I don't know if they'd send it with new investors because they may not care. And a high level overview and description with your plan. So when I get deals sent to me, I want to be able to see it in a clear snapshot on whether this is a good deal or not. For me, I want to see a deal analyzer because I'm an experienced investor and I do this all the time. But if you're sending this to an investor that has never flipped a deal before and may not analyze deals like this, they may be able to use the numbers you give them, which is the after repair value, how much you're buying it for, and how much you're doing in renovations. But some people may want more. And if they want more, they're going to ask you, right? Also, don't use fancy lingo. Give them what you would want in order to make a quick decision. I've actually been in this business a long time and I get deals sent to me all the time. And there's this investor that teaches people to send a deal and say, this is the IPO. And I may be, and again, I've had this sent to me many times and I figured out what it stood for. And still to this day, when I see that, I have to think, what is an IPO? And I may be getting the acronym wrong, but basically it's has something to do with an investor packet. So rather than just saying IPO or IP or whatever they call it, just call it an investor packet, right? Make it quick, simple, and easy so they don't have to think and figure out what you're talking about. Too much information and they'll be confused. Too little and they may be thinking that you're hiding something or didn't run your numbers right. So you kind of have to find that sweet spot. Number 3, ways to find gap funders. As I mentioned earlier, if you have a deal to fund, there should be no reason that you can't find someone that is willing to fund it. There are so many people that have money sitting, you just need to find them. So here are some ideas on how you can find gap funders for your deals and how I have found them. So first of all, friends and family. So this one is tricky because you would hope that friends and family would trust you, but if they invest in a deal and something goes wrong, then you could lose them forever. Being in this business for so long, I've seen money get between family and wreck relationships. So I'm not discouraging you from this. Just make sure when they invest with you, you just need to make sure that you make it right, that you have them in a good deal, that if something goes wrong, you're going to make sure you pay them back and take care of them. Next is acquaintances. Talk to everyone you can about what you're doing or getting ready to do. My best investor that I had is someone that I went on a hiking trip with. He actually asked me what I did and I told him how I invest and how I invest other people's money. And when I said that, his ears perked up and started telling him about our funding program. And long story short, we talked after this trip and with his business partner and found out they pretty much have unlimited funds to invest in our deals. I actually had something similar happen at a gym. I actually saw an older gentleman and just had a hunch that I should talk with him and talk business with him. So me being an introvert, it wasn't natural for me to talk to him, but when I started to talk to him, he told me he was a retired banker and how he lends money to other people for their real estate deals. And long story short, he had over $1 million invested with me in a short period of time. So don't be afraid to talk to anyone you come in contact with about what you do. You never know who you could be talking to. So number 3 is unsecured lines of credit. There are great options to get unsecured lines of credit for your business. Basically, these are similar to credit cards where you can get 0% financing for 12 to 24 months, and then you pay a modest interest rate after. I've only done this once over 15 years ago where I needed $25,000 to keep my business going. Back then, they didn't have 0% interest rates and I had to pay 25% interest at that time. But I was willing to do that to keep things going and to be able to buy properties. Fortunately, I was able to pay that back pretty quickly with some of my flips. I do have a 0% option for you, so I'm going to put a link down in the description below, so go check that out. So number 4, LinkedIn. I have not had to use this in a long time, but I used to message business owners in my area that I had some opportunities to partner on some real estate deals. Be careful doing this because you need to watch the way you word your message because of securities laws. But very quickly, I had a well-known businessman message me back that he was interested and he became an investor very quickly. So these are just the 4 ways that I think are great to find investors for your deals, but there are so many others. What it comes down to is talking to as many people as you can and showing them what you are putting together. If you've never done a project before, you just need someone to believe in you and give you a chance. You need to show them that you're going to treat their money well and they will keep investing in you and refer other people to you. After you have so many deals under your belt, then it becomes much easier to show new investors that you know what you are doing. At this point, I've done over 1,000 deals and have a great track record of paying investors their money back consistently with good returns. And what I do is I love to underpromise and overdeliver. Do not do the opposite. So I told you I would show you how to get deals funded 100% without having a gap funder involved. The way that we do it now is to have our private lenders trust us and fund 100% of the transaction without the need for a secondary lender. So in the example that I gave you earlier, if we buy a property for $100,000 and put $50,000 in renovations, our private lender will lend us the full $150,000, knowing that the property is worth $200,000 after it's fixed up. We just have to pay the holding costs associated with the transaction. So this allows us to do the 10 to 20 projects that I mentioned at a time. So last but not least, I'm going to show you how to do gap funding for those that want to lend money. So this video so far has been for those that want to find gap funders and are looking for money. This last section is for those that want to lend money. And if you are still just one that wants to borrow money, this is something you will still get value out of. I made some big mistakes gap funding and lost me hundreds of thousands of dollars on some deals, but when right, made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. It all started back in 2018 when I started lending money. I actually had a hard money lender come to me and said, hey, I've got clients that need down payment money, and I know that this is something you could probably help with. So he connected me to those borrowers and I got some great returns. I was actually lending small amounts of money, but because of the risk, I needed bigger returns than being in the first position. Because of the way that I set it up, I was making minimum 20% returns, and on some deals was making over 100% returns. So if you want to subscribe, I will do a video soon on how I funded those deals and was able to make over 100% returns on some of them. So anyway, so I did a handful of those deals and decided quickly to turn it into a business because it was going so well. I made some really good money out of the gate, but as I grew, I realized I did some things really wrong and it cost me really big. So let's look at the things that I should have looked at closer so you don't make these same mistakes. The borrower. I initially started lending to experienced investors, those that had done at least 5 flips before. If someone has never done a flip before, they may not know what they are getting into. When I lent money to someone who had not done a deal, that's where it became hard and I lost a lot of money. My heart usually doesn't get in the way, but I wanted to help new investors get into the game because I remember what it felt like not having money and wanting someone to take a chance on me. Unfortunately, it didn't work out too well. So the deal, my ego got in the way here. I thought if I could lend money on bigger deals, then I would have to do less deals. And if they went south, that I could fix them and I could clean them up. As I do this video, I actually have a deal in Indiana that has been sitting on the market for many, many months now. We actually started at $700,000, which is a higher price point, and we are all the way down to $600,000. At this point, I'm going to lose anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 on this house. So I learned my lesson to stay in better price ranges. So number 3, the scope of work. Usually the best deals are the houses that need the most work. But unfortunately, if a new investor or any investor for that matter does a flip and doesn't know how to flip a house like this, it can be disastrous. So not only was lending money to newer investors an issue, but also lending money on houses that needed a ton of work just spelled recipe for disaster. With that being said, the thing that I would do differently is get a set of criteria that you are wanting to lend on. Meaning for me, I would probably now lend on those that have done at least a few flips. I would fund deals in certain price ranges and only fund extensive rehabs for those that have done bigger rehabs before. If I would have done this in the beginning, it would have saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I hope this video was helpful to you, whether you're looking for funding or whether you're looking to fund projects for other people. Real estate investing is a great business and you can make a lot of money flipping properties, and you can also make a lot of money lending to other people as well. If you want to learn the top 5 ways that are best to invest in real estate, watch this next video here.